This is going to be an interesting review. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again is the unnecessary sequel slash prequel to 2008's Mamma Mia, where it pretty much plays out like The Godfather Part 2, where it's half a sequel and half a prequel. The sequel element deals with Amanda Seyfried, who is basically renovating the entire hotel that Meryl Streep's character owned in the first movie, and Meryl Streep's character has passed away. Meanwhile, the prequel element is how Meryl Streep's character, who in the past is played by Lily James, meets Amanda Seyfried's three fathers. And this entire movie is accompanied by a bunch of uninspired musical numbers featuring a bunch of ABBA songs that you've already heard in the first Mamma Mia. So I'm actually going to go into my rating right now, and then through the review I'm going to explain why I gave it the rating I gave it. The rating I would give Mamma Mia Here We Go Again is watch at your own risk. That's right, not burn in hell, not don't waste your money on it. And this is going to be another weird thing to say coming from me, but it's more on the higher spectrum of watch at your own risk, because I actually do think there are some things in this movie that are legitimately good. Now, let me explain first of all. The first movie I hated. It was just so obnoxious, annoying, poorly directed, like a TV sitcom. Some people say soap opera, but it just has so many situations that play out like a sitcom, and it was just awful. It was terrible. And the only reason I even own it was because it was packaged with a bunch of greater movies. So with this movie right here, it just looked completely unnecessary. Like, why do we even need it? But I gotta say, there are some things in this movie that are actually good. And I'm saying this about a movie that was not geared towards me at all. I think it's more well directed than the first one. Mainly all the stuff that takes place in the past, where Lily James is playing the Meryl Streep character. It actually feels more like a feature film and not a TV show from the 90s. There are some bits of emotion that actually kind of got to me. It actually worked, considering that I didn't really care about half these characters, or maybe most of these characters. Lily James is great in this movie. Lily James is becoming one of my favorite up-and-coming actresses. She was in Cinderella, she was in Baby Driver, she was in The Darkest Hour. She's just really proving herself to be a very, very talented actress, and this is her movie. She commands the screen every time she's on. There are some legitimate funny things with her and the younger versions of her friends that made me laugh. I got to admit. It was never in an unintentionally funny manner, it was in an intentionally funny manner. There are some legit moments of good humor in this movie, and I dug it. So those are all the good things about it, and I feel like if you took all the prequel stuff and just made it into a short film, it actually could be great, I gotta say. But unfortunately, you have a good chunk of this movie that is just not good at all either. And even some of the stuff that takes place in the past is not very well done. All the stuff that takes place in the present, with all the characters and actors that we've seen in the first movie, while not as bad as the first movie or as obnoxious, it's still not very good. It is more well directed, just like all the stuff in the past, but unfortunately, most of the musical dance numbers take place in the present time. And once again, they're so uninspired, so lazy. I mean, for God's sakes, guys, La La Land came out 2 years ago. You can't be putting out stuff like this with mediocre dancing sequences after La La Land just blew everyone's mind. It's just kind of inexcusable. The women in this movie are actually really great singers, like Lily James and even Cher. For the longest time leading up to the release of this movie, I have said, no, hell no, you cannot make Cher Meryl Streep's mother. They look the same age. Cher kind of looks younger than Meryl Streep, and no. But Cher has had a career as a singer, and she is incredibly talented during her few singing bits. But the men, holy crap, they still cannot sing to save their lives. There is one scene in this movie where Pierce Brosnan is given a solo act, and it's supposed to be a very dramatic sequence where he's singing about Meryl Streep's character. I was laughing. I was trying to be respectful for the people in the theater who were actually liking it, but it was just one of these things where, guys, your heart's in the right place, but this is so unintentionally funny that I cannot take it seriously at all. And then for some reason you have Andy García in this movie, who is just this random character that pops up in and out. He's just kind of wandering around as if he's lost on set. Almost like somebody sedated him and kidnapped him and brought him to the Mamma Mia set. Because he just kind of has no purpose to be in this movie, except for one particular song sequence with Cher. I'm not going to say what it is, just in case it's a spoiler, but Wikipedia his character's name, and then Wikipedia a certain ABBA song, and you'll be able to get the connection. And speaking of dragging him onto the set, there are some points where the set in the present day looks so cheap and just so obvious that it's hard for me to really get invested. And I actually did have a problem with the time jumps between the past and the present, because there's nothing besides the actors to distinguish what's in the past and what's in the present. I get confused on which time period we're looking at. And every time we are in the present, I'm like, guys, I don't care about this. Just go back to the past, go back to Lily James. That's all I care about, believe it or not. So I think it's fair to say that this is definitely a sequel that's better than the original. But did it need to exist? No, not really. I don't think anybody was really expecting a Mamma Mia sequel. In fact, when I went and saw this on a Friday night, the theater was kind of half empty, or half full, depending on your point of view. I haven't looked at the box office numbers as of recording this, so I'm not sure how it's doing. But just judging by the number of people that were in the theater, it didn't seem like anybody was really asking for this. But with what we got, it was more well done than the first movie. Again, I do like all the stuff that's set in the past, but all the stuff that's set in the present and all the dance sequences are just so bad and just so underwhelming and lazy. So that's ultimately the reason why I say watch at your own risk. If you didn't like the first Mamma Mia, then there's really no reason to see this movie in the theater. But if you somehow catch it on TV, I think you might be surprised at some of the improvements. But if you were a fan of the first Mamma Mia movie, then this is infinitely better than the first one. And that's my review for Mamma Mia. Here we go again. I was legitimately surprised by it, I gotta say. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. Did you see the movie? What did you think? Do you think it's better than the first? Did you think it was worse? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and of course leave a comment. Don't forget to support my Patreon page, follow me on social media, and until next time, this is the Real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.